It's Friday and here on What the F at $, want to help ease into the weekend. We do the song and dance, so it's Friday. Movies that can be saved. Today we will look at League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Wrestling Report, we go through the results at TNA, Smackdown Preview, news and the match, wrestler and indie star of the week. Editorial Friday, and it deals with the world of entertainment. And finally, the most anticipated part of the show. Dumbass of the Day. Liberal mayors of Boston, Chicago and Los Angeles. Now with no further ado. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fridays we play the game What If in the world of cinema. Sometimes good intentions are not enough to make a movie good. Today we look at the 2003 League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This movie was highly anticipated but fell flat. What could have been?
In times of great peril, the world must call upon the services of a singular individual.
Welcome to the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I'm waiting to be impressed.
The greatest adventurer who ever lived has been recruited to find a madman.
To stop him, you must lead a team like nothing the world has seen.
Cheers.
Dr. Jekyll, at your service.
Extraordinary gentlemen indeed.
And women.
Our transportation has arrived. You have 4 days.
And the game is on.
This summer,
So what are we dealing with?
unstoppable assassins. 20th Century Fox invites you
They're indestructible!
to discover an adventure
Keep your eyes on the road!
in a league of its own.
Surface!
Sean Connery, The League.
That was naughty.
To save the 2003 movie adaptation of The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, it needed a completely different creative philosophy. The core issues, which infamously caused Sean Connery to retire from acting, stemmed from studio interference, and bloated World War storyline, and a rushed script. Sometimes studios need to leave creativity alone because the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The original film could have been fixed or improved by implementing the following creative adjustments. 1. Strip away unnecessary studio inclusions. Remove Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer was forced into the script by 20th Century Fox to appeal to American audiences. Removing him gives the team room to breathe and strictly honors the 1899 British literary setting. The fact the age of Tom Sawyer was not a reflection of the novels was doomed from the get-go. The fact the studios only thought of American audiences was flawed. Cut Dorian Gray. Dorian Gray did not exist in the first volume of the comics and was shoehorned into the film. The movie could have focused purely on the established literary heroes instead. Again, studios often want to do more than do good. If they kept with the source material, it could have led to series of movies where the introduction of Dorian Gray would be more natural, but the studio wanted to stuff the material with as much as humanly possible. 2. Embrace the source material's tone. Darker, flawed characters. The comic book characters were deeply flawed anti-heroes rather than traditional blockbuster action stars. The Invisible Man was a cruel psychopath rather than a charming gentleman, and Dr. Jekyll was truly terrifying. It could have been the Suicide Squad and the Boys before its time. Anti-heroes never get the proper presentation, and this movie could have done that, but it didn't. Prioritize narrative over Michael Bay action. The 2003 movie relies heavily on massive, hollow set pieces like the car chase in Venice. The film should have maintained a tight, grounded mystery set entirely in the fog-drenched streets of London. One of the biggest flaws of studios, big bang over substance. 3. Better visual design. Subtle tech. The visual style of Captain Nemo's Nautilus car and high-tech gadgets heavily clashed with the Gothic period aesthetic, breaking suspension of disbelief. The technology could have been toned down to a more believable, steampunk, level to match the period. This was problematic. They had source material that could have easily transformed to the big screen, yet they went with the flavor of the month with no rhyme or reason. Practical effects. the film leaned too heavily into early 2000s CGI. Using practical effects for Mr. Hyde and the Invisible Man's antics would have given the film a grittier, more timeless quality. Unfortunately, it was awful CGI and created more problems than answers. Mr. Hyde alone was problematic in both aesthetic and presentation. 4. Better casting. Age-appropriate leader. Casting Sean Connery, who was 72 at the time, as Alan Quatermain radically altered the dynamic of the team and resulted in a Bondified action lead. An actor better suited to portray the disillusioned, older Victorian adventurer would have fit the narrative more organically. The studios went with Sean Connery because of his status, but this should have been better casted, especially to fit in with the narrative. The funny thing is they should have gone with a different Bond, more precisely Timothy Dalton. This could have reflected the character better and better represent the movie's story with an age-appropriate actor. Well, next let's go to the wrestling report. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's the wrestling report where we go over results for the busy or lazy. TNA Impact results for May 28, 2026 episode. Men's Champions Challenge, Leon Slater, KC Navarro, Frankie Kazarian, Eric Young, and Elijah defeated TNA champions Mike Santana, International Champion Mustafa Ali, X-Division Champion Cedric Alexander, Tag Champs Brian Myers and Bear Bronson. Fun match where each star had time to shine. Seeing Leon Slater and KC Navarro on the same ring is such a fun time. As the match wound down, Leon Slater took control to allow KC Navarro to get the pin on International Champion Mustafa Ali, so KC Navarro earns a future shot at the gold. Singles match, Tessa Blanchard defeated Halle Hudson. As mentioned several times, TNA needs to build up the Knockouts division and Halle Hudson fits the bill. She looked amazing in the ring versus former Knockouts champion and TNA World Champion. Ultimately Tessa won, but it was a fun and competitive match. Singles match, Santino Marella defeated Stax with Ariana Grace. A nice filler match, and the fact a 52-year-old still moves with the ease of Santino is amazing. This week we witnessed 3 legends defying age. This added to the story. Ariana Grace gets involved and affects her dad. This leads to Indy Hartwell to make the save, which will lead to next week a mixed match. Singles match, Fabian Aichner defeated Eddie Edwards by disqualification. Fabian Aichner is a beast in the ring, and with his performance here, makes you wonder what WWE's thought process was in releasing him. As the match progresses, the system gets involved, leading to a DQ. Knockouts Champions Challenge, Xia Brookside, Elena Black, and Mara Saad defeated the champions team of Lei Ying Lee and the Elegance brand. Fun match and a great way to highlight the knockouts. The true standout was Mara Saad. She's very talented. Almost predictable but poignant in story, Xia Brookside's pin on Lei Ying Lee will lead to a head-to-head with former friends now rivaled enemies. Now to the Smackdown preview. The European tour begins. Sami Zayn's change has begun, and leaving Cody last week opens the door. Cody will be here to address the events of last week. Both men's and women's US champs will be in competition. Finally, Jade Cargill has had Rhea's number, and it will play out just before the highly anticipated clash in Italy. Now to the news.
The news will be a bit different. We will have the predictions for Clash in Italy. Cody Rhodes, C, vs. Gunther, undisputed WWE Championship. The build-up has been masterfully done. The story of Cody the Conqueror has led to all his friends who got him there to turn on him. The move of Gunther with the help of Paul Heyman creates intrigue. Prediction: the smart move is have Gunther win the gold but have Sami Zayn go full heel. This plays out brilliantly. Brock Lesnar vs. Oba Femi. This was one of the best build-ups for WrestleMania 42. It was written as the new big thing, end of an era. So, being lazy, TKO and WWE erases the feat by running it again. So the smart call is, have Brock Lesnar win, which will force a third match which could fall on SummerSlam, more fitting end to Brock Lesnar's career to end in Minnesota. Roman Reigns, C, vs. Jacob Fatu, World Heavyweight Championship, Tribal Combat. The build-up has been brilliant. This match has the most intriguing storyline. Many believe Tribal Combat will lead to several future storylines. The introduction of Zilla Fatu, which will lead to another distinct tribe, which could create storyline for the next decade. It could also lead to the Usos turning on Roman Reigns, making the OTC not having a tribe at all. So many possibilities. Prediction: Jacob Fatu wins the gold and we'll have storytelling for the next several years. Becky Lynch, C, vs. Sol Ruca, Women's Intercontinental Championship. Becky Lynch is just one of the top performers in the business, and her to help the future is brilliant. Sol Ruca needs to win to help push her future. Prediction: and new IC champion Sol Ruca. Rhea Ripley, C, vs. Jade Cargill, WWE Women's Championship. This has been interesting, but Rhea Ripley isn't going to lose, especially with so many teasers. This match can help assist, the baddies will assist Jade, leading to Charlexa to make the save but at a cost. I'm sure this will lead to future battles between Charlotte and Jade, Charlotte and Rhea, and so much more. Prediction: and still world champion Rhea Ripley. Now to match of the week, wrestler of the week, and indie star. Match of the week, AEW Philly Street Fight. Chris Statlander vs Hikaru Shida. It was brutal and helped unfold a story that may not have been necessary but still fun. Chris Statlander again displays strength and wrestling storytelling. She should be thrusted back into the world title picture. Wrestler of the week, Fabian Aichner. In a match against former TNA World Champion, he put on an amazing display. He's a combo of strength and technique. So hopefully he finds a home in TNA that can lead to future gold. He's actually ideal to win the International Championship, but it appears they are going to put him in the X Division picture. Indie Star of the Week, Hunter Drake, the current TWE champion and newly signed NWA wrestler. The young star is building a reputation of style and flair. Well, now to a news editorial. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
1998, Playboy magazine did an article How the Penis Saved Broadway. This article made many talk and dial in. Now Broadway is very specific to a demographic. Now studios have chimed in and wanted to add this facet in movies. Well, it has hurt. The penis ruined cinema, where groups who movies are intended for are skipping movies because studios are pushing an agenda. While female nudity has been villain-feed, male nudity is being cheered. The fact directors report male nudity is important while female nudity gets protests. Recently, many television shows have gone full trout and it gets praise but quickly shows fall. White Lotus got a lot of attention where dicks were made popular, but the show quickly shifted where people stopped watching, yet studios moved forward. Indie movies have pushed dick for the longest time and many people got to see something no one wanted. In the movie Saltburn, an actor went forward without being told and it was left on screen, where this movie pushed deprivation not talent. Again, penis is ruining cinema, where many are stopped going to the movies where not only dicks are being displayed but certain life choices too. Now, horror films are often driven by make demographic, so studios are neglecting this and have pushed more dicks. The movie 28 Years Later went all hog and it got attention, where it was #1 movie for its debut weekend but fell quickly, but the studio already had Boneyard ready to be released. What happened? It didn't even make a mark. Poor director and the fact they again pushed dick over anything. Studios were scratching their heads and wondered why no fanfare. Again, dicks over story. Then we have the director Luca Guadagnino, who is famous for his sexuality, has pushed the limit to having dicks highlighted. The movie Challengers was noted for a famous scene. Again, it got noticed but for the wrong reasons. In the late 70s and most of 80s, female nudity got attention where feminists attacked studios. Now we are in the 2000s, dicks are being pushed and everyone is quiet. Yet, the numbers don't lie. Studios are deaf to audiences and are pushing against the grain. Now, not being prudish, but the reality is there is a double standard. When the movie Basic Instinct was in the theater, all the attention was Sharon Stone's beaver making an appearance and news outlets are pointing fingers. While in Saltburn, a dick and cum-soaked water gets praise. Hollywood has been known for a business ran by individuals who are amoral and evil. This is more obvious today. The fact Hollywood, women's nudity is a business where they get paid more while the men counterpart does not. So I guess the glass ceiling helped women but made men become pieces of meat. There is a way to solve this, but studios are dick hungry and are not going to change. So when Playboy magazine reported the Broadway's new tool, Hollywood smiled and looked to take advantage. Unfortunately, Broadway and cinema are different beasts. Broadway has a certain audience, it is not open to many, and the demographic is more open to praising dick. Cinema is entertainment for the working class, Most don't want to see Dick on the big screen, so this double standard is dangerous. Studios will blame everyone except for their ineptness. So, instead of pushing this, maybe studios need to fix the big problems. So don't be dicks about it. Now to the dumbass of the day, liberal mayors destroying some of the big cities. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The characterization of Mayors Brandon Johnson, Chicago, Karen Bass, Los Angeles, and Michelle Wu, Boston, as hurting their cities stems largely from intense political debates over their progressive policy agendas, particularly regarding immigration enforcement, public safety, and fiscal management. It makes one wonder why big metropolises are being eaten by liberals. The primary criticisms leveled against these leaders by opposing politicians and frustrated residents vary by city but generally focus on several shared controversies. Immigration and sanctuary policies. All three mayors have fiercely defended their cities as welcoming or sanctuary jurisdictions. Critics, including federal administration officials, argue that limiting cooperation with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, undermines public safety, strains municipal resources, and defies federal law. Conservative lawmakers have even threatened criminal investigations and funding cuts against these mayors for refusing to assist in mass deportation agendas. Conversely, the mayors have argued that aggressive federal enforcement creates fear, separates families, and violates civil rights. The fact these big cities are getting cannibalized by these programs. Allocation of tax dollars while starving the citizens. The fact many of these cities are being destroyed by financial corruption where programs are used as a front. Illegals are more used as a tool and the reality they are not being looked after but viewed as work in dollar signs. Public safety and criminal justice. Critics of the mayors argue that their progressive approaches to law enforcement, such as emphasizing restorative justice, reallocating funds, and imposing stricter accountability on police officers, have resulted in rising crime rates and reduced neighborhood safety. Supporters of the mayors counter that their policies aim to address the root causes of crime while tackling systemic inequalities within their police departments. Bigger cities have higher crimes. This just has become a fact of life, but why? Many say higher population just leads the way to crime. That should not be the case, but poor leadership love to blame everything except for their failures. Budgetary and economic strain. Fiscal conservatives and business leaders have criticized the three mayors for imposing high taxes, increasing regulations, and expanding municipal spending. In Chicago and Los Angeles, severe financial deficits and the allocation of massive public funds to house and support new migrants have angered long-term residents who feel their own local communities have been subjected to decades of disinvestment. Meanwhile, Boston has faced debates over commercial real estate taxes and the economic direction under Mayor Wu's administration. Economic strain, so they feel bringing in illegals that take the lion's share of dollars from its purpose. Perspectives on the mayors. While critics view these policies as evidence of ideological mismanagement that drives businesses and residents away, supporters view their respective mayors as champions of civil rights who are balancing complex socio-economic challenges, such as affordable housing crisis, homelessness, and federal pressure, to protect their most vulnerable residents. Crime and loss of control has been driving business out, which creates a damaging domino effect. Unfortunately, there have been more liberal mayors forming, but the idea cockroaches are rising at the fall of man cannot be more true now. The bigger story is why this is happening. Seeing failure and continuing to vote for failure should be a wake-up call, but it seems to be falling on deaf ears.